Let me ask you something. And don't answer too fast. Do you really think you're in control of your life? Because if you're like most people walking a spiritual path, you've probably been told that you are, that you attract everything, that your thoughts create your reality, that if something painful is happening, it's because you're somehow misaligned or not manifesting properly. Sounds empowering, right? Until your heart gets shattered out of nowhere, until a loved one dies too soon, until you find yourself repeating patterns that feel older than this lifetime. Suddenly, all those Instagram affirmations don't land the same way. And here's the twist that no one tells you. Maybe it's not all your fault. And maybe it's not all your choice either. Some ancient tradition, from Hermeticism to Vedic astrology, have whispered a more nuanced truth for thousands of years. A truth that says you do have free will, but it doesn't always work the way you think it does, because you're not just a human playing a spiritual game, you're a soul playing a multidimensional one. In this video, we're going to explore the sacred tension between fate and free will. We'll talk about soul contracts, karmic loops, quantum entanglements, the mystical teachings of old, and most importantly, how to find power inside that paradox. Not by pretending you're in control of everything, but by waking up to what actually guides your path. So if you've ever felt like your life is unfolding according to a script you didn't write, or if you're tired of being told you just need to raise your vibration while life knocks the wind out of you, then this conversation is for you. Because the truth, you might be choosing, but from a place far deeper than your conscious mind can access. And once you start seeing that clearly, something shifts, not just in how you make decisions, but in how you relate to your past, your purpose, and your pain. Let's dive in. Modern spirituality often sells a seductive idea. If you think positively enough, you can control everything. But this belief, though empowering on the surface, can quietly become a form of self-blame. When things go wrong, people assume it's because they didn't align properly. That's not just unrealistic, it's cruel. Esoteric wisdom teaches us that reality is shaped not only by thought, but by soul patterns, ancestral memory, and unseen contracts. Sometimes what you attract isn't because of what you're thinking. It's because of what your soul is still completing. So if you're stuck in loops you can't manifest your way out of, you're not broken. You're being invited into something deeper. Think about it. Haven't you ever tried everything, visualized it perfectly, kept the vibe high, and still nothing moved? That's the wall I'm talking about. It's not failure. It's a sign you've reached a place where free will and divine timing intersect. So instead of trying to override the mystery with forced control, maybe it's time to listen to what life is actually trying to show you, even when it's not what you asked for. People often misunderstand karma as cosmic revenge. But karma isn't about punishment. It's about memory, energy-seeking balance, across lifetimes if necessary. And that balance doesn't always come in ways we expect or want. You might be drawn to a toxic relationship not because you're addicted to suffering, but because something unspoken needs to be seen, felt, and finally released. This is where karmic relationships is a recurring theme on this channel and play their part. They don't just hurt, they mirror what hasn't yet healed. And yes, sometimes karma shows up through illness, limitations, or doors that just won't open. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your soul chose a certain curriculum for this lifetime. The very things you resist may be the keys to your evolution. Understanding karma not as judgment, but as design, shifts everything. You stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this inviting me to remember? Before incarnating, many spiritual teachings suggest that we make agreements, not contracts written in ink, but energetic blueprints. We choose our family, our greatest challenges, our potential turning points, all with the intention of growth. Sounds wild? Maybe. But it also explains a lot. Ever met someone who changed your life instantly, for better or worse, and it felt like you knew them already? That's the echo of a soul contract. It's not just romantic. It can be a parent, a rival, a mentor, even a stranger on the street. These contracts don't always feel spiritual. Sometimes they look like betrayal, or abandonment, or an opportunity that comes disguised as chaos. But the deeper lens reveals that even these events are part of a design far older than this incarnation. And the beauty is, contracts can evolve. If you've learned what your soul needed, you're allowed to outgrow the lesson. But first, you have to recognize the pattern. Life isn't a straight line, it's a spiral, where destiny and free will meet over and over again. Think of destiny as the river, and free will as the way you swim. You can't always change the current, but you can decide how you meet. You might be destined to face a certain wound in this lifetime, but whether you meet it with resistance or curiosity is your choice. That choice determines whether it becomes trauma or initiation. Some paths seem unavoidable, but the soul is less concerned with outcomes and more concerned with how you move through them. That's the mystical middle ground, where your agency still matters even if the terrain was chosen long ago. The truth is, you're not a puppet, and you're not the puppeteer either. You're the soul waking up inside the play, and that changes everything. Some moments in life feel orchestrated, like everything lined up in ways logic can't explain. That's not random. That's synchronicity. Carl Jung called it the bridge between the inner world and outer events. And when you start noticing it, you realize something or someone is speaking to you through reality itself. These moments, repeating numbers, perfect timing, unexpected encounters, are like cosmic breadcrumbs. They aren't coincidences. They're confirmations that you're aligned with your soul's deeper rhythm, and they often show up when you stop forcing outcomes and start listening. The more you notice synchronicities, the more they multiply. It's as if the universe is saying, yes, this way. And even when life feels chaotic, these signs can become anchors. They remind you that you're not lost, just being guided in a language older than words. So if you've been seeing patterns, symbols, or messages that feel strangely personal, pay attention. They might be pointing you toward something destiny alone couldn't explain. Free will is powerful, but without awareness it can be dangerous. Because when the ego drives the choices, it often leads us down paths that look successful, but leave us empty. Not every choice is truly free. Sometimes it's a trauma response dressed as ambition. We see this all the time. People manifesting things they don't even want. Careers that drain them. Relationships that repeat old pain. This isn't failure. It's the ego trying to fill a soul-sized void with things that were never meant to satisfy. True free will isn't just doing what you want. It's choosing from a place that's connected to your essence. That requires slowing down, listening deeply, and asking hard questions. Am I doing this to be loved, or because it's aligned with who I am becoming? And when you begin choosing, from that place, not fear, not pressure, but presence, you'll notice something strange. Life starts flowing, even when it challenges you. Astrology isn't just about horoscopes and personality types. It's an ancient tool, a symbolic language that maps out your soul's potential journey. Your birth chart is like a spiritual fingerprint. It doesn't dictate your fate, but it shows the terrain your soul chose to explore. Some placements indicate karmic themes, ancestral patterns, or life lessons your spirit came here to face. Saturn might bring tough lessons. The North Node reveals your soul's evolutionary direction. And when transits hit certain points, doors open or close with stunning precision. Of course, you're not bound to astrology, but when read, Properly, it can help you navigate challenges with more grace. It's like getting a map before you hike a mountain. The terrain won't change, but your preparation does. And once you see your chart not as a limit, but as a living blueprint, it becomes less about what will happen to me and more about how can I meet this moment with wisdom? Karmic loops are real, patterns that repeat across lifetimes or generations. You find yourself in the same kinds of relationships, same emotional triggers, same self-sabotage, and it feels like déjà vu on repeat. But the loop isn't the enemy. It's the teacher that won't leave until the lesson lands. The key to breaking the loop is awareness, not force, not escape. Awareness lets you witness the pattern without becoming it. That's where transformation begins. Next time you're triggered, ask yourself, what am I believing right now? What's the deeper story under this reaction? These small questions can open portals to freedom that would otherwise stay locked. Once you begin catching the loop in real time, your energy shifts. You stop reenacting the past and start reclaiming your presence, and that, more than anything, reshapes your future. In a world obsessed with urgency and hustle, the idea of divine timing sounds like spiritual laziness. But real spiritual maturity means knowing when to act and when to wait. Timing is part of the design, and some things can't be rushed. No matter how ready you feel, maybe you've tried to launch something, heal something, attract someone, and it just wouldn't move. That's not always a block. Sometimes it's grace in disguise, because if the thing arrived too soon, you wouldn't be able to hold it. Divine timing is the soul's way of aligning events not just to your desire, but to your evolution. And often when you finally surrender and stop pushing, that's when things start to flow. So don't confuse stillness with stagnation. Sometimes waiting is the most powerful move you can make. So what if the truth isn't one or the other, yes, but both? Maybe your life is already written, but with a pencil, not a pen. Maybe your soul wrote the outline, and your choices fill in the colors. This mystical middle ground doesn't demand perfection. It invites presence. You don't have to control everything, just stay conscious of how you're showing up in it. That's where the power lives. It's not about surrendering all your will, nor pretending you can rewrite fate entirely. It's about learning the subtle art of co-creation, where you walk with the mystery, not against it. And the more you practice that, the more life begins to feel less like a series of tests and more like a sacred dance. So now the question isn't, is my life already written? The real question is, who's holding the pen now? Because you're not just living a life, you're remembering a path your soul has walked before. And in every moment, you have the chance to choose, to repeat, or to awaken, to resist, or to align, to follow the script blindly, or to co-create with the mystery it carries. If something in this video stirred you, if it helped you see your journey with new eyes, take a moment, pause, reflect, and ask yourself, where am I still trying to force the river? And where am I finally ready to float with it, consciously, gently, fully awake? I would truly love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever felt guided by something greater? Have you struggled to know what's really yours, to change, and what's already written in the stars? Let's open that conversation in the comments. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. And if this kind of content speaks to your soul, if you're walking the mystical path, navigating karmic patterns, or searching for deeper spiritual truth, you're in the right place. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay close. We're just getting started. And while you're here, watch the next video on the screen. It might be exactly what your soul needs to hear right now.